I am deeply grateful to President von der Leyen for entrusting me with the role of Commissioner Designate for Financial Services and the Savings and Investments Union. I stand before you today to share my vision for this role within the College of Commissioners and to seek your support and your guidance. But first, let me start by giving you an idea of who I am and what I stand for. I am an economist by training, with over 30 years of experience in practicing economics and finance. I started as a university lecturer in economics and finance. I entered the Portuguese civil service, where I worked in the Treasury, in a state-owned company, and in the Public Debt Management Office. I served as Secretary of State and as Minister of Finance. I was a member of the Portuguese Parliament and a full member of the European Affairs Committee. More recently, I worked in the private sector, predominantly in a non-executive capacity. I have therefore had the opportunity to observe and interact with the financial services industry from multiple perspectives. I believe my particular combination of experiences means that I can connect the dots between the formulation of public policies and how those policies are implemented on the ground. If you choose to confirm me, I will use all my experience and expertise solely to serve the interests of the European Union and its citizens. From my background, I would highlight my time as Minister of Finance as it coincided with the deepest economic crisis the EU has ever seen. As you will remember, the impacts of the great financial crisis and the subsequent Eurozone crisis were particularly tough in my home country. I recall intense and difficult negotiations at home and here in Brussels, and the very difficult decisions we had to take. I am deeply aware of the scale of distress for too many people in Portugal and across the EU during those difficult years. I have learned one essential lesson from those dark days. Financial stability will always be the prerequisite for a strong and competitive economy, one that serves its citizens and their prosperity. That is why, honourable members, if confirmed, my main anchor will be the stability and integrity of our financial system. Your vision and your work in this House have been instrumental in laying the foundations for stability and integrity in the EU financial system over the past 15 years. Nevertheless, the financial services portfolio, like all others, must be viewed in the context of the times that we live in. And there is no doubt that the EU economy is falling further behind in terms of its global competitiveness. I worry that without decisive action, Europe will lose the ability to decide its own future and fulfill the promises of growth, jobs and prosperity we have made to our citizens. The recent reports from Mario Draghi and Enrico Letta have shed light on what needs to be done. President von der Leyen's political guidelines gave us a vision for a stronger and a more competitive union, and my mission letter spells out how I should contribute. We need to collectively rethink what a strong and competitive economy looks like. To me, a strong and competitive economy is one that actively encourages and supports innovation and entrepreneurship, that commits to sustainability, that promotes the development of physical and human capital, that is characterized by social mobility and inclusive growth, and one that protects and empowers consumers. If the EU is to have a strong and competitive economy, we must bring all these elements together to drive progress and prosperity. This is my vision. If you give me your support, honourable members, I will work with you to define and deliver upon the Savings and Investments Union, as President von der Leyen has asked me to do. To bring about the Savings and Investments Union, we must boost demand through greater retail participation, improve the efficiency of supply by a targeted harmonisation of laws, remove barriers to a market-driven consolidation, and consider how cross-border supervision can be made more coherent. Over the next 5 years, we must work together to deliver more opportunities to finance investment, based on an improved environment for institutional, retail and cross-border investments, deepening the single market for capital, notably in equity, with a focus on companies at the growth and scale-up stages, and also based on improved opportunities for EU citizens to grow their wealth in a safe and sound way. To get there, a more ambitious collective step forward is needed, because we must act in line with what we say we want. And this will demand political courage. I am under no illusions about how challenging it will be, both technically and politically. Having been myself deeply involved in many of the discussions about the banking union and the capital markets union in the past, I fully understand what this means and what it entails. But the costs of not taking this step forward would present the EU with an even greater challenge. Honourable members, working on the Capital Markets Union and the Banking Union have been priorities for each Commissioner who has held this portfolio for over a decade. I will endeavour to move these long-standing projects decisively forward, as I believe we must, and I will leverage at my best today's awareness of the importance of a seamless flow of capital for European competitiveness. For that, I will need your support along this journey, so we can improve the EU's competitiveness to the benefit of our citizens and our businesses. An important element of the competitiveness discussion is the need to reduce the regulatory burden on companies, in particular SMEs. And we do need to ensure that our regulation is fit for purpose, that it adds value. This means avoiding excessive compliance costs and undue regulatory requirements without compromising the stability or integrity of the financial system, nor undermining investors' or consumers' protection. If confirmed, I will ensure that our rules on financial services contribute to a more competitive economy and that they are rigorously implemented and enforced to achieve the desired goals. In this way, I will contribute, with your help, to the task to be led by the Commissioner for Implementation and Simplification. But, honourable members, our choices are also about our values as Europeans and what we are willing to do to uphold them. We must continue to fight financial crime, particularly money laundering and financing of terrorism, both within the EU and at the international level, notably with the launch of AMLA as an EU authority. Equally important, crucially so, I would say, enforcement of sanctions policy. We must ensure EU sanctions are effective and that circumvention routes are shut off. Let me now turn to two very important elements that, if confirmed, will receive my particular attention. First element is implementation. The European Union is the leader in developing frameworks for sustainable finance and digital finance. These regulatory frameworks are important in providing certainty for market participants and are indeed influencing our international partners' approaches. On sustainable finance, I will continue Europe's efforts to direct more private capital towards projects that have a positive environmental and social impact as a contribution to a more sustainable future. With the framework in place, we have to implement it. I believe now it's time to shift the focus of sustainable finance policy towards making the framework more usable, particularly for smaller enterprises and for those in transition towards sustainability, while keeping greenwashing at bay. On digital finance, including the use of artificial intelligence, we can all agree, I think, it brings undeniable benefits, but also associated risks, which means it also requires continued and close attention. The risks for individuals are already being addressed by the AI Act. If confirmed, I would take a balanced and forward-thinking approach to advancing digital finance, ensuring its advantages are harnessed by both citizens and businesses. And I will do this in coordination with the Executive Vice President for Tech Sovereignty, Security and Democracy. The second element is financial literacy. Despite the extensive reforms put in place since the great financial crisis, we know that trust in the financial system is still low. If we want Europeans to make the most of the opportunities that the financial system presents, they need to trust the system and they need to feel confident that they can manage their money. If you approve me as Commissioner, I will endeavour to empower European citizens, promoting financial literacy, to participate in the financial system in a fair and efficient way, to take control of their finances, and in doing so, to take control of their own future. Allow me to conclude by noting that this mandate will likely be even more challenging than the one which ends now. We live in highly uncertain times, and as times change, so do trends and threats. While we must remain focused on key areas, such as our climate, digital and social transitions, our strategies for achieving our objectives must evolve to reflect the changing context. And the urgency to act decisively cannot be overstated. If confirmed, I will want to lock in past achievements by maintaining a robust and stable financial system. But I will also want to embrace new opportunities to empower innovators and entrepreneurs to deliver a competitive and prosperous European Union, ultimately benefiting us all. Honourable members, as elected representatives, you speak for nearly 450 million people. If you choose to support me, I commit to fostering a collaborative relationship with this committee and the European Parliament in general that drives us together towards a shared vision. My relationship with you will be founded on transparency and trust. I would want to exchange openly with this committee on a very regular basis, to listen to you, to share with you, to discuss with you, and to find common ways forward together. Thank you, and I look forward to your questions.